Welcome back to Comics with Drew, and today I am doing a review on Batman Three Jokers. That is right, this is an actual Black Label, DC Comics Black Label, highly anticipated book one of Batman the Three Jokers, or just Batman Three Jokers by the legendary Geoff Johns, Jason Fabok, and Brad Anderson. This is the, it's variant cover number 7. I didn't pick this. This was just handed to me by my comic shop. I had put myself on the list for this book, and I went and picked up, and this is the one they gave me. So I'm not necessarily the target market for Black Label. I typically like the standard, regular DC Comics. I don't need to have extreme amounts of gore. I don't need to see Bruce Wayne's package as was infamously displayed in a previous Black Label book. But I heard that this is going to be good. This is the premise, if you're not familiar, is there are 3 distinct actual Jokers. They are from distinct eras in the Batman lore, and one of them is the one that killed Jason Todd, the second Robin, and another one is the one that shot Barbara Gordon. Then there's another Joker. I'm not entirely certain which Joker this one is, but he just seems like generic Joker. That's what this book is about. This is the book 1 in that series. So this is the first official mainstream comic book I've done a review of. Normally I do independent crowdfunded books and Comicsgate books. The overall review of the book is gonna be, it's okay. There's nothing really in here that jumps out to me as something that is super special. Okay, there's nothing really super special about it. The premise is cool, and they do some cool things in the book, but and so it's definitely worth picking up to see what they're doing. But as far as a lead off is concerned, it just does things that are boring to me. I'm just going to be honest with you. The book leads off with one of the things that I absolutely hate the most. Okay, so this is the 9-panel page layout made famous in Watchmen comics, and I'm sure it's been around before, but I can't stand this format, and I'll tell you why I can't stand the format. It only works in very, very unique circumstances when you're telling a long-form important story, but the drawback for it is that, let's just address it this way. Comic books are a visual medium, and one of the strengths of a comic book is the ability to use this entire page to show brilliant artwork, to tell a story visually. And when you're doing the Hollywood Squares Brady Bunch nonsense here, you're taking this entire page here, look at this entire page, and you're basically saying, I'm going to make you look at this right here. This is one panel. This is another panel. What winds up happening is you don't have a lot of room for dialogue, and then when you do have room for dialogue, or when you do actually have dialogue in here, I mean, you can kind of get away with this because there is no dialogue on this. But the fact of the matter is that when you wind up putting dialogue, you wind up losing even more ability to draw, to put artwork there. And was it Mr. Miracle? They have a lot of this kind of thing, and it just drives me insane. So yeah, I just can't. It just drives me crazy. So right now, strike one. It leads off with this, and then I can't show too much in here, but basically after this we get a recap of Bruce Wayne's family getting killed. Oh my God! I mean, how many times do we have to see this? Right? It's like we've seen it in every single movie practically. We've seen it in the books countless times. We get the point. Now, I understand in the narrative what they're going for. Basically, this book has Batgirl and the Red Hood and Jason Todd in it for a reason. Each one of these characters suffered tremendously at the hands of these Jokers in major moments in the Batman mythos. So the reason why they're doing the whole Bruce Wayne's parents get shot thing again is because they have to tie it down. So here's Batman's origin, here's Batgirl's critical moment in her story, and here's Jason Todd's critical moment in his story. Okay, they're doing it for symmetry, so I understand why they're doing it. It's just, oh my God, do we really need to see this again? Quite frankly, I think you could probably do it differently without showing it, but I'm not Geoff Johns, so this is just my opinion, and your mileage may vary. These are the 2 main critical things that I have about this. We have unimaginative layout that is detrimental to telling the story, in my opinion. And then we also have things that we've already seen before. All right. I don't know about you, but I'm not really looking necessarily forward to spending $7 to see the same story over and over again. Okay. And that's just what this is. And I'm just being real. I'm just being honest. So that's a major problem that I have. So I don't know going forward how much more of this type of thing we'll see. But this is just the review for book one, and they gotta get the story set up, and it is what it is. I do have some other criticisms for this. Okay, here it is. All right. I have no idea what the hell I am looking at here. This is supposed to be Batgirl on her bat bike, right? And she's got some kind of metal gear or razor thing that's like right here, right? She's got something like that, and she's supposed to be shredding this tire. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at. And I have looked at this, seriously, I've looked at this for 20 solid minutes trying to make sense of what's going on here. So I'm guessing that you got the metal steel on the right. I can barely make out just by her knees the bolts for the cab. But anyway, it goes to the second thing here, and I just don't know what's going on here. And the reason why is we're doing this again. So we're doing the 9-panel thing. It doesn't help the narrative. I mean, here we've got Jason Todd, right? And he's fighting somebody, and I'm not gonna really get into who he's fighting. But the bottom line is like you're limiting yourself, and it hurts the book. It just does. So if you're looking for an all right story, then go ahead and do it. I don't see what this is just number one, the first book on it. So maybe I'm judging it too harshly. I am going to get the rest of the books. I'm already signed up for them, so I got them on my pull list. But I expect better. The art is great. The coloring is a gigantic pile of mud. It is very, very dark and monotone, and it's very, very difficult to kind of make things out. I think the book could be so much better if maybe we weren't locking ourselves down to this quote-unquote premium style formatting as far as the layout is concerned. Watchmen did this effectively. It is still not my favorite, but they did it effectively. You're not Watchmen, all right? You're not Alan Moore, so stop trying to do it. just tell your story. So the story appears to be promising. The basic plot here is we meet the three Jokers. They're obviously trying to do some kind of master criminal enterprise. They're trying to pull something off, but it's difficult to determine what it is, and we wind up seeing all these different kind of wink wink, nod nod kind of stuff with the comparison between the origins for the characters and how the Joker impacted them. So we can explore that in great detail. And I'm sure Johns is going to do that, and I'm sure it'll be interesting. But that's just my opinion on the book. So you may love the book, and if you love the book, I am happy for you. I am not one person to sit there and tell you you're wrong. Things that I did like, there is something that happens in this book that we don't usually see very often. Kind of like when Indiana Jones and Raiders talks about the fact that it's not the age, it's the mileage. We see something similar to that here with Batman, where he's getting patched up by Alfred, and we kind of see all these different wounds that he's had over time that Alfred has patched up. And not only do we see the wounds, we see how they occurred. That's a pretty cool thing. That's not normally done. We don't normally see that aspect of it. What I look for in a book like this, in like a black labeled kind of thing, like this is something that's new, that's never been done. The basic premise sounds like a great premise. I will give them that. And but the thing is it's not just necessarily the premise, it's how the premise is executed. That's what's important. And it's kind of hit and miss there because of this. I would expect a little bit more visual flair in this, and I would expect a little bit more creativity in how things are laid out and maybe how things are paced. I would suggest that the sequence where Alfred's patching up Batman here and Bruce Wayne, I think that would work just as well to fill in the place of the whole Bruce Wayne's parents get shot. Like you've not heard of that. I mean, if you are buying this book, you know that story, okay? Nobody is picking this book up off the shelf and goes, geez, how did Batman become Batman? I mean, nobody's doing that. So if you are doing that and you're picking this book up, you are a unicorn for comic book customers. If you are buying this book and you do not know that story, I think a failing of this is the fact that if someone is purchasing this book, they already know all the backstory that we're talking about here. So all the stuff that we see are basically reruns of things that we've seen before, okay? We've seen the Joker shoot Barbara Gordon, okay? We've seen Jason Todd get beat to death with a crowbar, okay? We've seen Bruce Wayne's parents get killed. All right, what we haven't seen is an extended sequence of Alfred patching up Bruce Wayne with flashbacks to how he got the different wounds. That's cool. And that's in here. So if you want to see something like that, that's pretty interesting. There is a very creative usage of Joker gas towards the end of the book. That's pretty cool too. So we got two of those things, and we have the premise of the three Jokers that are actual real Jokers, and we still don't know how this timeline has come to be. We've got some good things going for the book. So that's the reason I'm saying this is an okay book. The execution just isn't quite where I would expect it to be. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that these gentlemen here don't know what they're doing. These are some of the best writers and artists that we have available doing stuff like this. I just expect a little bit better personally. We'll see how it goes. I've reviewed this book, so I might as well review the other ones when they come out. I think there's 3 issues. I could be wrong. I think there's only 3 issues of this. Don't hold me to that. So they may make some more. But I am glad to see that we have DC going out on a limb to try to do stuff like this. In fact, actually, I think you should probably just go buy this. If you want to get books that just have the story and they don't have an agenda, then this is the kind of book you should support. Go ahead and buy it. Take a look, check it out. It's definitely worth a look, and there's some interesting things in there. But this is just me taking a moment to rant about the fact that I cannot stand 9-panel pages. I just can't. I hate them. I hate them with a passion of 1,000 burning suns. I'm done with the 9 panels. So stop doing it. Stop trying to make it a thing. All right, it's a thing for Watchmen. Some people think it's a thing for Mr. Miracle, which I think is hysterical. That was poorly executed, personally, in my opinion. At some point in that particular book, we have what amounts to stick figures. That's how bad it is. And I know that the artist said he hates drawing 9-panel pages. Well, good for him, because I hate reading them. So ultimately, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. It's got good promise with the premise. I didn't even plan that. How about that? Good promise with the premise. The art, I just wish could be a little bit more clear, because it's just not always clear what you're looking at, which is death for a comic book. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are making a comic book, if you're drawing a comic book, make it visually coherent. Don't put crap in there that if you can't recognize what's going on within 2 seconds, then you have failed. That's a big problem. So when you have it muddied up and you just got browns and blacks puking into a panel that's this big, like this wide, and you're trying to draw a car accident, you just might as well just be scribbling all over it. All right, that's it. There's no dialogue. It's visually a gigantic lost cause. So just don't do it. Otherwise, the art's good. Coloring could be improved, obviously. Dialogue is fine. The writing is fine. The plot is fine. It's not overly complicated as far as that's concerned. The story choices, I think, draw it back and hinder the book from really getting going. Because we could have just, done the intros for these characters, backstories in the first couple of pages. We could have done like 3 or 4 pages and boom, we're done. But no, we have to have this long drawn out kind of flashback, traumatic kind of thing. So, oh well, it is what it is. Again, bottom line, 7.5 out of 10. Go check it out. It's Batman 3 Jokers, book 1. And first in a series, it is Black Label. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. It's perfect bound like this. It's not your average normal comic book. So you do get a little bit more value for your money as far as that's concerned. And we'll see where it goes from there. Again, this is Comics with Drew, and I am Drew, and I appreciate you watching my video. If you like this review, go ahead, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.